What's going on, guys? This is Damien from The Lookout and welcome to our How to Play Yellow Buu guide. We are starting our How to Play series for set 20 archetypes and today we are covering Yellow Buu. But before we begin this video, hit that like and subscribe button. We are on our way to 3000 subs and maybe somehow we make it by the end of March. Now, roll the video! As with all of our videos, let's start with the breakdown. So we'll be talking about the archetype, we'll do a brief archetype breakdown, followed by some key cards, then I'll show you some various plays and synergies, after which I'll show you a deck list and we will go over the first 3 turns. First 3 turns is usually, the number that we settle on. It's a good estimation of how to play the early game. And then finally, we will end it with a summary. Let's go. What is our game plan when we're playing this deck? Well, this deck is essentially the evolution of Majin Buu, the deck. Because we'll be starting with a very small Buu, who will then just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until we get out our boss monster, which is just insane. You place Buu cards on top of other Buu cards to make the big Buu boss monster. And when you place these cards, it's usually like, hey, if you have an X amount of cards under this, then it gains some effects and stuff. So yeah, it's all about stacking various Buus one on top of the other until you reach Kid Buu, the strongest form. The payoffs are good. The payoffs aren't bad, but the whole chain is unfortunately a bit fragile. We will dive a bit deeper into that. And if you manage to pull it off, it can be quite strong, but of course if you manage to pull it off. Let's start with the leader. Here is our leader, Majin Buu. So, yellow leader 10k, on the front side when he attacks you draw 1, that's all pretty standard. However, there is this cool ability, activate main once per turn, look up to top 5 cards from the top of your deck and add up to 1 yellow Majimbo card with an energy cost of 6 or less among them to your hand, shuffle your deck, and if you've added a card to your hand, discard 1 card from your hand. This is cool because this actually allows you to do something, to technically draw, to tutor if you went first. And a lot of leaders don't have this, because most of them just have the auto when these cards attack draw 1. So this way, you still get to do something on turn 1. He has a pretty consistent awakening, which is awaken when your life is at 4 or less, of course, or you have a yellow Majin Buu Z battle card with an energy cost of 2 or more in play, draw 1 and switch up to 1 of your energy to active mode and then add cards from your life to your hand until you have 6 cards left. This is super consistent, so once again we are seeing a Zenkai block leader which can just awaken on turn 2. This front side is very, very good. On the awakened side, his Majin Buu absorption complete. This one is awesome. Check this out. 15k. Auto, discard 1 yellow card. Any yellow card. When this card attacks, draw 2. This card goes so fast through your deck. Especially when you have some Buus which do things when they're discarded. So you just keep upping. If you're running this, as a leader in a Buu deck, which it should be, but like drawing 2 cards in yellow, just going through the deck rapid fast is awesome. Then he also has auto once per turn. If it's your opponent's turn, when you play a yellow Majin card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards or unisons and switch it to rest mode. This is hinting at the main gimmick of the deck, which is that we will be playing our Buu cards on our opponent's turn. This is a strong effect. Like, it's not the best because you do this on your opponent's turn, but you get to rest a unison. Like, resting battle cards is something that yellow does anyway, but resting unisons, this is a bit more niche, so it's cool to have this. It's cool to have this ability, but guys, this isn't all. We also have a Z leader. Our Z leader, Majin Buu Apocalyptic Awakening, is very good. So, check this out. He has barrier removal, come on. 15k, Z Awaken for 1 yellow, so that's not the best. Whenever you need to pay for Z Awaken, that's not the best. But still, it's fair. 4 lives or less, yellow Majin Buu. And now a bunch of autos. Auto, once per turn. When you play a yellow Majin card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards or unisons and switch them to rest mode. So it's basically the same as the Awakened Leader, but you can also do this on your turn now, which is awesome. Awesome. Auto, discard 1 yellow card from your hand. When this card attacks, draw 2. So you're not losing steam when you Z Awaken. You just keep drawing through your deck rapid fast. Super important. It's great that you can do this because we have some Z leaders that lose some of this draw power, but this one just keeps his draw power. Amazing upgrade. And then, auto, once per turn, if it's your turn, when you use a skill to increase the power of one of your battle cards, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, KO it, choose up to 1 keyword skill of the card that you have KO'd with the skill, and this card gains that skill for the turn. This is awesome. This is barrier removal on your turn, plus you get keywords. And Dragon Ball today is the type of game where boss monsters come out super fast. A lot of them have barrier, and a lot of them have like double strike, triple strike. So yeah, you get to KO one of them ignoring barrier, and then let's say you give this guy double strike. Maybe you give him even triple strike. That's phenomenal. So yeah, a very, very good Z leader with very relevant autos. Before we proceed, you need to understand how stack works, because some Boos in this archetype affect Boos on top of them, but you need to understand does this affect only the first one? Does it affect the one on the very top? So let's just go through this super briefly. If a card has a skill which affects the card above it, and there are multiple cards above it, it affects the one on the very top. That's how it works. So if you have a Boo that gives the Boo on top of it barrier, and you have 4 Boos on top of that one, it will give barrier to the Boo at the very top. That's how that works. It always affects the top card regardless of how many cards are on the top of the original card. Now, here's why I'm saying this. The first key piece for stacking Boos is the Z battle card, 2 cost, 1 Z energy, Majin Buu 2 hearts. 2 cost, extremely important. This is the only Buu that costs 2 in the entire archetype. We cannot do anything without this one. This one has deflect, Z stack 2. He puts 2 yellow Majin Buu battle cards with an energy cost of 1 from your Z deck underneath him, and then they give him some awesome protection. He is 10k, he has this activate main limit 1, where, if you make him huge, he gains dual attack, but you're not gonna be doing that most of the time. So most of the time he's just 10k guy with amazing protection. Let's check out this protection. The second key piece of our engine are these 2 Boos, Majin Buu Heart of Evil and Majin Buu Heart of Good. They're the ones that you're placing beneath your 2 cost Z battle card. Heart of Evil Buu gives the top Buu barrier. So the Buu that's on very top of the stack gains barrier. Heart of Good Buu gives the top Buu permanent, which ignores the first time that it would get KO'd. So awesome protection. This is like super barrier. Much needed protection. Unfortunately doesn't save you versus Black Smoke Dragon, but still awesome protection. The rest of the text is just flavor. Just don't look at the rest of the text. It's just permanence. So yeah, this is our protection and our key engine piece, the thing that we start our whole stack with. Presenting the Majin Buu chain. I'm not gonna go over all of them, but yeah, this is our very big Buu chain. Ignoring the free drop, because this one isn't important at all for the chain, you're looking at like you're playing the 4 drop on top of the 2 drop, then 6, then 8. And then when you have Kid Buu, like you don't basically win the game, but you do horrible things to your opponent. Yeah, this is the Majin Buu chain that we will be playing with. Our deck has two main gimmicks. Yeah, it's not all about stacking, there's even more to it. First gimmick is playing cards on top of cards during your opponent's turn. That's the big flaw in my opinion, because you cannot really play super active. You need to be very reactive, and you can just play your things during your opponent's turn, which isn't the best. It's not my playstyle, so okay, but it works. It definitely works here. Does it work the best? We will see. The second gimmick, you make a Buu, you pick a Buu and you make him big by discarding Buu battle cards in order to gain extra effects for your turn. They usually have this other activate main, which is like, hey, you discard some cards, and if he has an X amount of cards under him and you raise his power by this amount, then he gains some effect. Those are the two main gimmicks of the deck. The last thing that I want to talk about before diving into the deck are the 1-drops. These two are amazing. Both of them are played when you discard them using a Majin Buu's skill. So you have those activate mains that discard Buus from hand. This way you just discard them. You can give like plus 10k if you discard both of them, and then they also give you some benefits. Budding Evil draws a card, while Innocent searches the top 7 for a Buu. So whenever you discard, you gain the full benefit of the activate main discard 2 Buu cards effect. It can be like double strike, it can be dual attack, whatever the card gives you. Plus you draw 1, so you immediately replace 1 card that you have discarded. Plus you get to tutor for the next piece of your Buu chain. That's awesome. They are a way to give your Buu cards plus 10k for extra effects, but you're still discarding a lot for them, so you still are minusing a bit. I mean, like, you're not really minusing, you are getting things back, but you still need to have these 2 cards to discard, otherwise you are flat out minusing if you're not discarding these 2. Now, let's take a look at the deck. Here's the deck that I've built. This is a very archetype focused deck. Link is in the description below. Yeah, this is very archetype focused. It has some yellow good stuff in it. It's probably not the best way to build a Buu, but it's a good starting point. So we have our entire chain here, and then we have yellow good stuff to support it. You know, like counter cooler, super combos, the meta cooler counter, the newest Vegito, which is just amazing, and some other stuff. So yeah, link is in the description below. Let's dive into the gameplay guide. Here is our mulligan. We go for the 1-drops, because 1-drops are awesome for discarding. Plus you can discard them with your Buu's skill, with your leader skill on turn 1 to get some benefits. And we also have the 4-drop Buu. This is going to be our start of the chain on top of the Z Battle card. Because the 3-drop is pretty much useless, I believe, because the 6-drop, the one that goes on top of the 4-drop, goes only on top of the 4-drop. If you chain into the 3-drop, you're stuck. So don't go for the 3-drop, go and mulligan for the 4-drop instead. Now comes the part that you all have been waiting for, the first 3 turns. Explaining how to play the first 3 turns will be a bit of a different experience, because unlike with other decks that we have covered, Buu wants you to play stuff on your opponent's turn. So the way that we're going about this is that we're just making double slides. So we'll show you your turn and then we will switch to your opponent's turn. That's the best way to cover this. We are assuming, like always, that you have kept the mulligan that we have shown you and that you're going first. Alright, let's see what Buu can do. Here's what our first turn usually looks like. What we're trying to achieve here is to basically set up for turn 2 when we will be starting the Buu chain. Here's what we usually do. We just start, pay 1, we play one of the 1-drops. Let's say this Buu. We draw 1 and then we activate main, we can discard the other one. We get to tutor, we get to get our pieces if we have missed something in the mulligan, or like if we haven't drawn additional pieces of our chain, we just get to get them here. and we're basically setting up for turn 2. On our opponent's turn, we'll be charging the 1-drop into the Z energy because we will need Z energy to play our 2-drop Buu Z battle card. Turn 2, we are starting the Buu chain. We started the turn, we charge 1 energy, then we pay 2 energy and 1 Z energy to play our 2-drop from the Z deck. Z stack 2 activates, we put the 2 1-drops beneath him, giving him the ultimate protection of barrier cannot be KO'd. Then it is time to awaken. We awaken, we restand 1, we have 1 active energy. We draw 1 and we take lives until we have 6 left. Then we attack and our auto triggers. We discard 1 to draw 2 just to filter through our deck faster, and finally we pass the turn. Then it is our opponent's turn, which means that we finally get to play stuff. In this scenario, our opponent is the sad Bardock leader. You have 1 energy opened. Bardock attacks you, you say no counters. Okay, then during the combo step, you combo with your 4-drop. Let's say that you have managed to defend yourself, doesn't really matter, but let's say that you have defended yourself and then you pay 1. Then you target your 2-drop, and now it is evolution time. Because you have a 2-drop in rest mode, you play the 4-drop on top of him in active mode. Your leader's auto triggers and then you get to rest something. Turn 3, Buu continues to evolve. We start our turn, we charge 1 energy and then we use our 4-drops activate main to discard 2 cards. We discard the 1-drops and then we play them. We get to draw 1 and we get to tutor. In this case, we discarded the 1-drops. There is a possibility that you'll just end up discarding something else, but the point was to give our leader plus 10k. The effect continues because these two have a combo power combined of 10k combined. Our leader gets plus 10k, his activate main continues, he gets to draw 1 and he gains dual attack. Now we have 25k dual attacker. We attack twice, we attack with our leader and then we pass the turn. It is our opponent's turn, so now we get to do some more stuff. Our opponent starts their turn and we have 3 energies because there's nothing to do during our turn, so we might as well use them to protect ourselves. Our opponent attacks, we say no counters and then we combo the 6-drop. Let's say we manage to defend ourselves and then we pay 1, targeting the 4-drop, it's evolution time, we play the 6-drop on top of the 4-drop, leader's auto triggers, we get to rest something and then for the rest of the turn we have 2 energies which we can then use to continue defending ourselves. What happens next? Well, the following turns are pretty much the same. You'll be looking to get as much value as you can out of your Buu card during your turn until you eventually replace it with a bigger Buu card on your opponent's turn. Because you're playing very reactively and because your Buus cost only 1 energy and you can't do much during your turn, you will usually have enough energy in active mode during your opponent's turn to defend yourself. And this is basically what you're doing for like 5 turns until you get to play your big boss monster. Before we end the video, let's dive into the summary. First problem is that the deck is extremely reactive. You're not doing a lot during your turn. You're just waiting until your opponent's turn, then you get to play the bigger stuff, then you use it during your turn, and then you wait, and then you play the bigger stuff. Rinse and repeat. Like, it's very, very reactive, it's very defensive. Unfortunately, for such a defensive deck, it completely falls apart to Smoke Dragon because Smoke Dragon warps and he can just take away your entire stack. And if that happens, a bit later in the game, you just basically lost. Like, that's it, you just flat out lost. It takes forever, 5 turns. 5 turns is forever in this game to get your boss monster going. Boss monster is extremely slow. Yes, you can cheat him in, but then you don't get some effects. If you want the full effects, you need to wait for 5 turns. However, there is a huge upside, and the huge upside is just how fast you can go through your deck because of the draw 2 on your leader's awakened side. So you're going through your deck rapid fast, which means that you will very likely see everything that you want to see in the 5 turns that it takes for you to get your boss monster going. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below. Will you be playing the Yellow Boo deck? Are you excited to try this deck out? Does it fit your playstyle? Have you maybe been trying it on untap? How does it work? Let me know if I've missed something, if there's some cool interactions that I'm not seeing. Because like draw 2 is super sweet, but the deck is very reactive and it's just not my playstyle. However, if that's your playstyle, I think that you'll have a blast with this deck. So let me know in the comments. I read all of your comments, I try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us out a lot, like it really helps with YouTube algorithm. And maybe we will hit 3k subs by the end of March. This has been Damien from The Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.